What's up everyone, Tech Geek Josh here with today's video. In today's video we will be comparing the Motorola Moto G4 Play on the left versus the Huawei Ascend XT on the right. Now I'm giving you guys a special treat all this week. That special treat, I'm gonna make videos every single day this week, Monday through Friday. And I sort of have an idea of what the videos are going to be, so that's a good thing. So let's get on with this video. You see here, they both are turned on. I do, for once, have some apps lined up, which is awesome. But yeah, let's go ahead and do the usual boot down test and boot up test. Enable something. Enable the internet on the Huawei. Alright. And it looks to me like the Moto actually shut down first. As you can see, the Huawei is still going. Huawei is taking its sweet time here. And while we're waiting, you can see how different these phones are. A small 5-inch display on the Moto, a huge phablet size 6-inch display on the Huawei. And now it looks like the Huawei has finally powered down. Hey, there's my new camera. Alright, let's go and do a boot up test in 3, 2, 1. It's little things like this that I actually really like. The simple startup screens. Clean looking as well. Sorry, I just had to itch my nose there for a minute. And I might as well say this, I have no clue how the quality is going to be. I have no clue if it's 720p, 1080p, but the last video I did with this camera, which is my first video I should say, it rendered and was able to be uploaded in 60p, which I consider that actual, upgrade over 720p. So there's that. As you can see, the Moto started up first, the Huawei definitely not too far behind. And they're actually a little bit dimmer than they appear on camera. So, as you just saw in the beginning, I do have some apps lined up for this video, so I don't be all over the place, which is a good thing. Huawei is not connected to the internet just yet, but it will be. Moto is, which is very good. Patiently waiting for the Huawei to connect. Yeah, it is turned on. Come on now. Let's go ahead and check it really quick. Oh, now it is connected. That was stupid. Alright, let's get started. So we'll go start with YouTube. That was a fade on the Huawei, which is very weird. It looks like they opened it up the same, loaded it the same, but it turns out the Moto was a slight bit faster. About the same there. Shout out to Nick Ackerman for being at the top of my YouTube feed today. Snapchat, Moto, and then the Huawei. Pandora. These are both the same version, by the way. Copyright. Copyright, hello, copyright. Copyright. Anyway, there's that. Next we'll go to Kick. Moto, and then the Huawei. Play Store. These are actually laid out about as good as I can get them because Moto has a smaller display, but they are lined up about, exactly. Just making sure I just dismiss that notification. Play Store. Moto won that one. Huawei is a split second behind. Offer up. Moto opened it first and it looks like it will load it first. That's true. Always the same notification on offer up. Periscope. Moto opened it first and it loaded it first. Huawei a good 3 to 4 seconds behind. Then again, I could be wrong about that. Messenger. Moto. Patiently waiting for the Huawei. Now there you go. And the session is expired. I have to log in again, but I'm not going to. So the Moto won that one. I just realized these apps are switched around, so let's go and do Maps. And by the way, I am tapping them at the same time, if you can't tell. Given the smaller form factor of the Moto, you can actually see it's outperforming the Huawei in some apps. It's very, very interesting. And the Huawei has the octa-core 616 or the 615. I'm not really sure anymore. It's been a while. Instagram. Moto. Huawei. Come on. There you go. Took some time, but it finally loaded. Shout out to David Freiberger from Roadkill for being at the top of my news feed on Instagram. As you can see, in terms of scrolling, just the Huawei seemed like it had a little bit more lag, but now they're both scrolling very nicely. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is actually being recorded in like the highest quality setting on this camera, so I can't say for sure what quality it's going to be in when I upload it. So, yeah. Next is settings. Moto far ahead of the Huawei. Battery doctor. Huawei actually opened it first, as you can see there. But who will load it first? The Huawei opened it first, but the Moto actually sprang ahead and loaded the entire app first. Yeah, Huawei needs to be charged. It was pretty low to begin with. Chrome. Moto opened it first. Yeah, I left off on basically the same site. This has the same, MP3 juice. I just haven't loaded it. I got a lot of hate on that video saying that it gave people viruses. You guys must be doing something wrong. It's already loaded on the Moto, so let's go ahead and tap it in 3, 2, 1. Mistapped it there, but it looks like it still, was able to load it. So it looks like, as you just saw, the Moto was able to load it first. You can still see some little bit of lag and performance issues because they're both loading, if I'm not mistaken. I accidentally reloaded it on the Huawei, but I think they actually stopped loading. In terms of scrolling, very smooth at times, but then it is a heavy site. With the Huawei, with that 6-inch massive display, you can see a lot more content on the screen that I just said in a previous video. But there you go. Then now the SWAGG, or SWAAG, sorry, mispronounced that. This is a very light game actually. Moto actually won it, which is very surprising because I would assume that they would actually load it at the same time, because it's definitely not a big game by any means. phone. Moto, much farther ahead. But the Huawei did load up the dialer first. The Moto didn't. Messages. About the same time. Anyway, about the same time. Camera. Now this is important for capturing that moment right when you want to. Or right when you need it. Well, the Moto looks like it won this test. Both set to the rear camera. I still prefer the look of the Moto because it seems a lot more cleaner, a lot more simpler, and just a lot fancier. Switch to the front camera. The Moto actually switched first. So there you go. You can see a shadow on my wall. I do indeed have a light right over here, if you can see where my hand is on the phones, right next to me. That zoom is impressive. Best zoom I ever had on a camera. But anyway, in terms of quality, I'm looking off screen really quick. Sorry, it wasn't just then. They're both very good, but it looks like the Moto over here is capturing a lot more in the frame, considering it's much smaller than the Huawei, and the Huawei's not really getting too much in the frame. You can see my camera in the Moto, whereas you can barely see it on the Huawei, so that's something to look at. Now let's go to the rear camera again. Let's go over here. Photo size. No, that's not what we want. Let's check out the video resolution on both. Okay, there you go. Full HD at 1080p, which is 30 frames per second. On the Huawei, let's see, it's probably the same thing. Yeah, full 1080p, full HD. That's very cool. And now, for the very last app, what shall we test? Let's test calculator. Exactly the same time. Well, I saw what the Moto did. But I would still consider that to be exactly the same. Well, at exactly the same time. Multitasking. Let's check out the multitasking on these devices. Now they're very weird. They both run the same version of Android, if I'm not mistaken, Android Marshmallow. Have no clue when each device, if one of these devices will get nougat. I do, matter of fact, have the new CoolPad Canvas in my pocket, which is currently receiving some messages, and that video will be out tomorrow, which does run nougat, and I'll hopefully talk about it in tomorrow's video. So yeah, and this is the same case. As you can see, YouTube is not even in the Moto. So let's just go to Snapchat. Moto kept it open the longest. As you can see, Huawei had to reload it. Wow, the Huawei is slow beans. Huh, that is weird. But as you can see, the Moto, Pandora, where'd it go? Not on here either. I don't know. Let's just mark these out of the way because they're not on here. Kick, Moto. The Huawei's having to reload quite a bit of stuff after all. I wasn't expecting that. Play Store. You see the Moto held it open the longest. Huawei had to reload. But if you could tell, the Huawei actually has like a weird animation when going back into these apps. As you can see right here probably. It has that like flash animation, which makes it reload apparently. Moto won this one. Huawei had to reload it. A shame. Periscope. Both had to reload it. Moto actually bring the information up first, and then the Huawei on that one. Messenger, Moto, Maps next. Okay, both had to reload it. Huawei looks like it was having some difficulty there. Still, the Moto won that one. Instagram, Moto, settings. It looks like the Huawei actually loaded it first and bring up the information before the Moto. Battery doctor. Moto held it open the longest. Again, Huawei had to reload. So considering the size of the Huawei, it's actually not performing as good as a Moto, which is something to look into when buying one of these phones. Chrome. So it looks like the Huawei actually held this app open the longest, which I was definitely not expecting. While as you just saw, the Moto had to reload. But they're still pretty fast nonetheless. Next. 6 wheels and a gun. Moto considerably faster. Now they're both like that. Come on. Oh Jesus, come on. And I accidentally did that just now. You just saw me archive an app I didn't mean to archive. Phone. Huawei held it open there. Messages. Huawei. Camera. Moto actually loaded it first. And calculator. The Huawei bring it up and then the Moto. So that's that. Of course you can clear it all with a one tap on both of them. You can see right there. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned throughout the week because I do plan on making videos for you guys every single day of this week. And not next week, only this week as a treat because, well, why not? I don't see why I can't upload videos every day this week. So anyway guys, hope you enjoyed watching today's video. And I'll see you again in the next one.